Hi, I'm John, and welcome to another Product Spotlight. Today we have a couple of very highly anticipated models from ExactRail. So let's get over to the workbench and take a look. All right, so here's what we're looking at today. This is a pair of ExactRail Trinity 64-foot TRINCool Reefers. And there's a couple different versions here. I'm going to show you both. If you go to the ExactRail website, you'll find at least two different paint schemes on these. One of them is patched, and I'll show you that as we go through these models. And then the other one is your straight ARMN 2005 as delivered scheme, which is the one closer to the camera here. These go for $54.99 at the time of this recording. And as part of ExactRail's Platinum series, you're going to find that these have the ultimate amount of detail. And we're going to see all of that in this spotlight. My advice to you is to go to ExactRail's website and see if they have the one you're looking for. Okay, so I took the one that was sitting closer to the camera, and we'll take a look at that first. This is the 2005 as delivered paint scheme. It's ARMN 111346. You can see it has all kinds of little labels and warnings and writing all along the side of the car, and all that stuff is legible. They've done a really great job with the paint on this model, and something that I'm really impressed with just looking at it straight out of the box is how detailed the molding and separately applied parts are around this door area. These latches look to be separately applied parts. And then if you look all the way on the end, you can see that the ladder over here is separately applied wire grabs. The door tracks also are separately applied pieces. So there's a lot of freestanding detail on this model. And wait till you see the ends. We'll look at the brake end first. I'll point out some of these details. And as usual, I'm pointing out stuff that you can see on the picture, but I think it's done so well that it really deserves to be pointed out. Example, look at the cut lever. That's a very fine, separately applied wire piece. It looks very much to scale. This grab that goes all the way across also is a separately applied thin wire grab. The brake platform is a photo etched metal piece. And then of course, it has a separately applied brake wheel as well. It also has an air hose, which is behind the coupler, which, by the way, that's a Katie number 156 scale coupler. And recently somebody asked me, how do I know it's a Katie? There's a really simple answer. I'm looking off camera at ExactRail's website, and it tells you right on there what kind of coupler this model has on it. And that's what that is. It's a Katie 156 whisker type coupler. And that has to do with how it's made. And you can find all kinds of information about couplers if you just look for it. And a quick look at the brake end from the other angle shows the separately applied air hose detail. And again, all this separately applied ladders and wire grabs over here. The detail on this model is as good as it gets. Like I said before, this is a Platinum line model. That's ExactRail's best stuff. So you're not going to have to do anything to this model unless you want to weather it. Or maybe you want to add a tag to it. I know people have mixed feelings about graffiti, but this is the kind of car that people who do graffiti look for because it's a nice blank white canvas. Anyway, looking on the other side of the car, you can see again the separately applied grabs here. There's also a separately applied stirrup here. And it also has that same kind of very fine, separately applied detail and detailing around the door, and the door tracks are also separately applied parts. So normally the A end of a car is pretty boring because it doesn't even have brake wheel detail or anything. The A end of this car is actually fascinating because it has a refrigeration unit as well as a platform. That's a photo etched piece. There's a tank down here, And just there's a whole lot to look at here. And it's all very finely rendered, separately applied stuff that makes this model worth looking at. I mean, just the level of detail that they've gone to here and the fact of how good it looks is pretty amazing. And looking at it straight on like this gives you an idea of just how good it looks. I'm going to move the light over the model, and you'll see that the shadows from these bars in front here appear under the walkway, and that'll demonstrate that the walkway is a see-through photo etched piece. You see how that shadow appears under the walkway? That's what we're talking about. That is a really cool photo etched part. I think you'll be able to tell from these close-up still photos that I took of the A end just how good it looks in person. It's really amazing. And just to be thorough, I want to show you this angle of the A end as well. You can see the air hose down here, and all this little writing on here, it's all legible. So there isn't really a whole lot to see on the roof. I mean, you can see that there's a little pattern and some raised sort of spines here, which would take weathering really nicely, I should add. But it's a pretty plain roof, and that's how these cars are in real life. Pretty plain on top. Let's look at the bottom, because I think we're going to have a different story down there. So as you can see, and hopefully I've lit this in a way that you can see what I'm pointing at, all this nicely rendered, very fine detail under here, separately applied stuff, and it's full brake rigging. So, you know, it's something that you can see at certain angles as the car rolls down the track. Although, because of the bulkiness of the car, especially looking at it from the side, it's usually shadowed under there. But they've gone to a lot of trouble to include accurate, fully detailed brake rigging here. And then these are ExactRail's 100-ton ASF ride control trucks. These are accurate CNC machined metal wheels that it comes with as well. All right, well, you probably can't tell, but I did the old switcheroo on you. We're looking at the other car now, and it also has the same kind of brake rigging and all that underbody detail. And just like with the other model, the top is, well, kind of boring. All right, so here's the side of this car, and I mentioned earlier that this car is patched. Some people watching don't know what that means, so I'll explain that real quickly. You see this white rectangle over here? There used to be markings on the prototype that appeared here. Well, at some point, and it was probably a renumbering process or something to that effect, or maybe the car was sold to another party and they wanted to put different reporting marks on it. So they color over where the original markings were that they're trying to obscure, and they paint their new markings on top, or apply their new markings on top here. So this is what they call a patched paint job. All the details on this model are very similar to the details on the other model, except for the fact that it has that patched part. It still has all your separately applied stuff, you know, like this stirrup here and all the latch detail around the door tracks, and the grabs on the right side there, all separately applied, and looks really good. The A end, or refrigeration end, if you want to call it that, also has all the same detail, including the photo etched platform here, and looks like a separately applied refrigeration unit. And of course, all this writing and markings, it's all legible. Also, the air hose and uncoupling lever are present on this model as well. You can see from this angle, the uncoupling lever is also painted a different color, just like on the other one, which really makes it stand out. The details on this are really nice. And this looks like some kind of a receptacle or something. I didn't notice this on the other one, but it is there. Looks like something maybe you plug in there. I don't really know. Maybe somebody watching knows. What is this little, like I said, it looks like a receptacle. What is that? Is that for plugging in the refrigeration unit when it's not running on its own? I don't know. I mentioned the 100-ton ride control trucks. This is what we're talking about. And you can see that these trucks also have good detail in them. And we'll have a quick look at the brake end as well, just so that you can see the detail on it. It's very well done. So as you can see, this is another extremely solid release from ExactRail. I have to say, every time I get something from ExactRail that says Platinum Series on the box, they never let me down. The detail is exquisite. All the paint and markings are perfect. It just doesn't get any better than this, folks. This is the real deal. I'll see you next time.